Hi, my name is Michael Becker, and welcome to today's installment of the mCordis Mobile Insights. And with me today is Max Semenchuk. He is with a app development company called Seductive Mobile out of Kiev. And Max, welcome. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thanks, Michael. So I'll do a quick intro about me and the company. So I come more from designer and marketer experience. Started 11 years ago. Around 5 years, we started our own startup company for the marketing in Kiev with my close friend, the co-founder, technical engineer. And well, it went pretty good as we got the first client as Philip Morris, the tobacco company. And they were asking for lots of other things. So we started bootstrapping our product and bootstrapped so much that ended up as a service company. But
So fantastic. So at the very beginning, what does Seductive Mobile do? So app development, what does that mean?
So what we do now is developing mobile apps for businesses. So it excludes games because it's a totally different process. And what we do is apps like Uber, Foursquare, social apps. So examples like that. So it's kind of service applications.
So when you say it's for business, it's not necessarily for B2B. It still can be a B2B application. It just happens to be for an enterprise rather than a person-to-person or a single-player game.
Yeah, like a majority of our clients are startups that want to build their product. So it's not technical founders, or for example, like if there's a web product built there, but they want to do the mobile version, like in the app, that's something they can do for them.
So can you define what is a mobile app? Can you define that for us?
Yeah, so it's the piece of software that you usually can download from App Store, like App Store from Apple or Google Play, and install it on your smartphone and use it afterwards.
Now, is it simply, we hear things like the mobile app, the hybrid app, the web-only app. Can you explain the distinctions there?
So currently, the word app is really broad because now you also have web apps, for example. Usually what people mean by saying apps is some autonomous piece of software that serves you many times, unlike, for example, promo website that you only visit once or two times. That's something that you use daily. But usually when we're talking about mobile apps, it's something that's wrapped in the native language of the platform. So, for example, like for iOS, you write in Objective-C, and for Android, it's Java. So we take this mobile developer that knows this technology, and he develops the piece of software. So that was the paradigm, like from 2008 when the first smartphones emerged. In some time, people didn't like the approach when they want to cover two platforms, they need two developers, twice the budget. So in some time, there was an idea to use like kind of web instruments and tools that allow you to work on every platform. So sometimes we have piece of software that's written in native, and some of them is just web pages that are transmitted from the website. It's one approach. And the other approach, like really cross-platform, is when you write something in one language and then publish it to several platforms. Like seems like in one click, but not usually so.
I see. And for that last one, do you do that yourselves, or would you license somebody's tool to help you publish it out into the multiple platforms?
To be honest, we tried a couple of these cross-platform engines. It never worked for us well. And it's something that I hear a lot from the market because they, like in my opinion, they are not mature in terms of both platforms and developers. So for now, there's only one platform that is supported with enterprise license. It's Xamarin. This technology is great. But it's even with the great technology, there's like new engines like Ionic and React Native. The second problem that comes into play is the lack of experienced developers.
So we've already kind of identified in this conversation the first kind of best practice, if you will, is to, before you're out running out and start developing an app, you want to think about how is that app going to get developed? Is it going to be native C, native in the language of the platform? Are you going to try to cut some corners and use some compiling app that will send it out into a different solution? Or are you going to try to do a web-only app? But before we even start talking about execution, could you tell me about, from when you talk with your customers, why are they building an app? What problem are they trying to solve? Let's talk about the business need for the app, and then we can talk about a little bit more about the how.
Mm-hmm. Well, so first of all, we can divide markets like in three segments, like startups and small businesses, kind of medium businesses, and like enterprises. So we usually work with the smaller ones that are startups. They have idea of the service they want to build. So one of the examples is like a ride sharing application. And we're talking something that we built for back in CIS. So like here you have Uber and other services like that. So idea was pretty the same. It sometimes have like slight differences, but usually like there are some like founders that like to build something, and when they need development power, they come to us. But they already know what they need to do. So it's usually like they have a total idea of the market, of the product, of the like how they will go with that. So it's one case. Then we have like middle and bigger companies. Usually they use our mobile apps as extensions of their businesses. One thing that we worked a lot is the marketing activities. So, for example, if a brand launches a campaign that should go on the internet, it sometimes also need to go on mobile. So we work for like 50 brands. They develop apps like different presentation, sales tools. Like, for example, one of the really smart examples is for the pharmaceutical industry. So, for example, the sales representative comes to the doctor to showcase the set of their products, and he shows all the information about how does the package look like, what are the symptoms. And so previously the people did it with like paper brochures, which wasn't that great, because this app like that was built for the pharmaceutical company. It also allows update the presentations like immediately in the real time. It allows to plan the schedules of how you visit those doctors. And also, like, for example, like marketing wants to know how they presentations perform. So thing is, like, for example, if the representative sees that each slide, that this concrete slide goes okay, he pushes next to the right part of the screen, and it's like counted like in Facebook. And if he doesn't see like involvement from the doctor, he pushes left side of the screen. That is like kind of not like. So the real strong part is in marketing as we see it. Also in optimizing business operations. So like big transport companies that do deliveries, they use apps heavily also to plan routes, to receive money, for example. So for example, you have this delivery for pizza or something and you want to pay with card. So you can have your application for selling pizza, for paying with card, for example, by customer, or the delivery boy can have his own like tablet that can accept payments. So really wide range. Like the best I know is like in marketing and sales.
I see. And so there are a lot of apps out there, millions and millions of apps, and the majority of them fail or no longer used after 90 days, 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
What is the best practice in your mind when you're working with a client and they've given you an idea or you're helping them ideate? What are the 5 or 6 best practices that you recommend for people to consider when they're developing an app?
Mm-hmm. So an app is a product, even if it's a part of the offering. It's still a product that you can measure. So the first idea that you need to like have in your mind is how you will leverage this like investments. So how will you measure the success of your application? And it's not always the money like involved, because sometimes you want to have, you know, outreach and coverage and stuff like that, or do some, you know, social stuff. But let's like, we strongly playing in the field of like apps that perform in money, you know, that have some income. So you need to pre-plan your funnel, you know, how will you attract your clients, how much will you earn on each client. So we have a set of different metrics like cost of customer acquisition, lifetime value of the customer, revenue per user.
Lifetime users, but it sounds like a lot of the elements that you're talking about just now are the marketing side of the app. You know, cost per user, that's, you know, how much advertising I'm spending on the app. That doesn't necessarily help me know what makes a good app. How do I develop a good app? Not just the marketing around the app, but how do I develop a good app?
Yeah, so my idea behind that was that the biggest issue that I see, like for the people that haven't worked before with the apps, is that they don't understand how will they attract users to the application, and 95% of the application they die without user base, you know, or it's like really small, up to 100 people. So usually when the app got thousands of users, even if it wasn't built with, even if it was built with not perfect design, or it has some bugs or anything else, it usually can be solved, you know, but the app has some traction. If there's no traction, the best app will fail. So the second tip that I can give is to pre-plan the how will you engage people in your application, how will you get the installs.
I see. So the best practice is before you even write one line of code, think through the marketing plan first, think through the individual engagement plan first. Because that could invariably influence the experience that you try to create in the app, would it not?
Yeah, totally. So before starting anything, we usually use this tool called Product Model Canvas that allows us to capture the whole idea of the product, like who's the target audience, what's the need or problem, how will we solve that, what will be the key features, how will we market the application, how we will compete with other applications in the segment, what will be the profit engine, what would be the costs. So that's something we, like any product manager before building up, wants to know.
Fantastic. And why you? Why Kiev? Why? So there's a lot of app developers out there. You know, there's players in it, you know, in Southeast Asia. You know, there are players throughout all Eastern Europe. There are tons of players in the United States.
Yeah.
Why would someone come and work with your team versus somebody else's?
Well, the biggest thing that comes to mind is the cost savings, because average cost per hour for US located teams is something around $100 to $200 per hour. Compared like to Kiev, it's around like $20 to $30 per hour. So I can't say that you should decide purely on the price, but sometimes you just can't put that budget, you know, like 50K or 100K. You may not have it from the start. You may want to start with something, and if you have like 10, 20, 30K, then in any case you will work with some team that is located outside US.
And
so,
if they work with you in that environment, they could in fact use that 30K as the first reference design or something of that nature. And you know, it's a good way to getting started without over investing in the solution. Would that not be the case?
Yes, it's one of the strongest software. So we built this minimum viable product for the companies that, well, for example, it substantially decreases the risk for them. So with like smaller location, they get the full product that afterwards they can develop internally. They can, you know, switch developers or something, but they have something that they can show the market. And usually when we're talking about some innovations in marketing or products, it's something that's very valuable to do it fast and to not spend a lot of money on that.
I see. And as we said in the kind of the pre-call, you had noted that you're currently sitting in San Francisco right now while your developers are over in Kiev. You have projects all throughout Europe, and so you are a global company, and you can interact and support companies on a global basis, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And hey, I want to get to know you and the team a little bit better, and may have a app project that they want to get started with you on, how would they reach out to you?
Well, the best through the website is seductive-mobile.com. Well, and also you can Google me like Max Semenchuk. You can find my articles, my speech on the conferences, so to know a bit about me better.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you very much for taking the time today. And with us has been Max from Seductive Mobile, and my name is Michael Becker with mCordis. And this has been an installment on the mCordis Mobile Insights series, looking and talking about how we go about getting apps developed. So Max, thank you very much, and we hope to have you back one of these days soon.
Thank you, Michael.